What are we doing today, Billy?
Not one of our cars, but it is a car.
I guess you could consider this a car. Today we are doing a rear main seal replacement on a 2013 Ford Escape EcoBoost. It's not gonna be fun, but
we're also dying of allergies.
Yes, we are allergic to the air. The sky makes my eyes itchy.
The trees have awakened, and we're dying.
It's terrible. So let's get to it. Also, it's like nice outside, except for today. Today it's not. It's 55 degrees, so we're wearing hoodies again, and it's great. Anyway, we're gonna see if we can take the engine and transmission out of this car so that I can take them apart, crack them apart like an egg, and replace one seal, and then put it all back together. Rear main seals are terrible. It's the worst seal to go bad in your engine. And that's the only problem with this thing right now. It's just leaking oil like crazy. So let's get to it. This is one of the most involved things that you can do in a car, if not the most, short of rebuilding an engine. So if you're looking to do this at home, you're gonna want to learn a lot. You're gonna want to watch a lot of videos. There are plenty of other videos on this. It's the EcoBoost 2 liter, so it is different from the 1.5 liter. Regardless, there's going to be lots of coolant hoses and fittings. I'm going to go ahead and drain the coolant and the oil and probably the transmission fluid. Because I have the lift now, I'm going to try to drop the engine and transmission down on some blocks or jack stands or wood or something and lift the car off of it. Alright, so where I'm at right now, I got the bracket that was on top of here that holds the airbox off. And I already took the 4 bolts that holds the top of this engine mount. So when I go to actually take this mount loose, all I gotta do is take this off, and I think maybe these 2 10 mils, but I went ahead and took the bolts out of this ground, all the little grounds that are gonna bind up and keep you from pulling the engine out. That's what we're taking out. So I think what I'm gonna do right now is I'm at a good spot. I'm gonna pop this up so the air can go in there, and I'm also going to take the top off the coolant right here. And then we are going to bring it up in the air and start draining fluids. Why is this so difficult to get off? Anyway, we're going to start draining the fluids out of it. I'm going to take this wheel off, both sides, both these wheels off, because we're going to have this whole front end apart, so I might as well. So just looking up here for kind of trying to figure out how we're going to take everything apart. I want to get the subframe out. If I can, I want to leave the struts hanging with the spindles on them. We sprayed this so that we can get that top of that sway bar link out, and then we're going to start trying to figure out what we have to take loose as far as suspension, because I want the rack to go out with the subframe. So I know I have to get the steering linkage loose. So we'll probably take the tie rod ball joints loose and take the lower ball joint on this control arm loose, leave the strut with the spindle on it, and then take the obviously take the CV axles out. That way we want to take the whole subframe out before we take the engine and transmission out, because the car is supporting the engine and transmission.
32.
So I bought a sweet new set of pliers. I've been wanting to try these for a while. You can either grab a shaft with them or it'll grab a hex nut. They're skinny, so they'll fit behind a lot of stuff. So I'm gonna try this on here and see if it'll actually hold this. This might make taking sway bars that are rusted in place off a little bit easier. Well, that's awesome. I like these things. Look at how it's holding it. It holds it just like a wrench would hold a nut, but it holds it from all 3 sides. That's an awesome design. Good tool to have.
Yeah, just have a look at how greasy it is underneath here. Ooh.
Oh yeah. They said over throughout the 6 months or so that I told them to keep driving it and keep keeping oil in it, they said they put a total of 10 quarts through it.
I mean, that's
twice what this engine holds.
Drops of oil coming off of there.
Yep. So I'm gonna have fun trying to get this thing.
Ball joints.
Ball joint. Well, the ball joint is kind of through bolt. It's a real weird setup.
Okay.
So those are always rusty. I got the nut off of it. I sprayed into the crack between the two sides of, because it's a pinch, and then I air hammered it right out of there. So this is your pinch nut for your lower ball joint. Oh yeah, that's working great. Well, now.
Yeah, it's like falling out.
Well, you're gonna have to hold this.
Yeah, if you guys want to see a prime example of what Michigan does to cars, have a look at this exhaust flange up here. That is just, it's crumbling apart, and the nuts are gone. They're crumbling off too. We're gonna have to cut that.
Yep, that's gonna be a tomorrow Randy and Billy thing. This is pretty common. Usually we have to cut them, punch them out with a air hammer, or just drill them out and then put a through bolt. So we got the oil drained. I think what I want to do next. So I'm gonna take the boost tube right here that goes under the engine. I'm gonna take this rear motor mount out, get it out of the way, and then I need to figure out how to take the steering shaft loose and what I have to unplug so that I can get the subframe down and out. So we drain the coolant. You'll notice I'm wearing a different shirt. Most of it went on to me. But we drain the coolant.
The pepcock like pops out.
Yeah, Ford likes to design things where they turn 180 degrees and then just pop out. Like, you know, coolant, which you don't want to do that. So anyway, luckily we've got our trusty cardboard that's been through hell and back. So just kind of looking at things, I want to figure out how to take loose the wiring and the physical connection for the steering rack. One of those I might have to do inside the car. I know that we need to take these connectors on this part of the subframe. I know we're gonna have to drain the AC and figure out where it disconnects and disconnect the AC connections. These wheel well liners on both sides, I'm just gonna go ahead and take them out. They're gonna be dusty and dirty. They're gonna be in our way the whole time. They're blocking our view of a lot of components. I'm just going to take them out. There's a bunch of 7mm and push pins. We might as well do it now. Yeah, no, I mean, all of that was meant to break. I meant to break every one of those pieces. This car is only 12 years old. Every piece of plastic on it is shattered. Day 2. We're back at it. Basically, it's Sunday. I don't have a lot of time, but what I want to try to do is at least see if I can get the rear subframe out. I went ahead and disconnected the steering shaft inside the car under like there's like a mat in there, like behind the gas pedal. So disconnected that. I made sure to paint mark that. So this wiring harness for the steering rack goes all the way up and goes up to where the battery is. Actually take the nut off of it to take it off of the fuse box. So hopefully that wire shouldn't catch us, hang up on anything. So I'm going to try to take these two forward support bars out, and then I'm going to see if I can drop this subframe. Getting that out of the way will make a lot of stuff easier as far as disconnecting all of the wires and hoses and stuff that physically attach the engine and transmission to the car. Because we've already got the exhaust loose. We need to get access to take the drive shaft loose, but we got to get this out first. These ones are probably going to be the worst. Oh my god. Ooh. Ooh-wee. That's awesome. I think I'm just gonna start spraying through that hole and hoping there's a nut back there.
squirt it into the bushing too. Maybe it's...
Yeah, probably help. Watch me pull the thing off the lift. Oh yeah. Easy peasy. All right. Neat. I feel like that thing is probably a lot heavier than I think it is. Hit anything, is it?
No, there's a pinch weld coming up on the subframe that's going to rest on. Right there, it's touching now.
Good.
Into the dip with you. Yeah, we're going to go soak this one in the rust remover.
I hate that sound. That sound usually means things are going to be hot when I take them apart.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We need to turn that rust into metal again. Now what we get to do, since nothing is technically holding that in, as far as we know, except whatever is bound up and is going to catch us, we're going to try to go very slowly down. And then we're going to stop every now and then and just kind of look at everything. So it's on the jack. Can't tell if it's coming or not. There it goes.
Nice. Bring it down.
Coming down slowly. We gotta look, just look at everything. Oh, yeah. Nothing. Is this alright? You gotta guide this.
Alright, that wire harness. Oh, it's coming up from the top. Okay.
I gotta disconnect.
Alright, hold that.
Yeah, I got this.
Alright.
The second stage always screws me up. I'm like, whoa, what? Huh.
I wish we had this years ago.
I know. That would have been way better than doing it even with that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was a big part of this. I'm really glad we were able to get this out today.
Nice.
Yeah, that thing's sweet.
Transjack.
So glad you bought that.
$100 just needed another $100 seal kit.
That was worth every single penny. Look at all the room for activities, everyone. And that's how you take the rear subframe out of a Ford Escape. Front. The rear of the front.
Yeah, it's a two-piece, whatever.
It's... You get it. You saw. You watched. Or you didn't. Maybe I'm just talking to myself watching this later. That's going to be really weird.
Yes, it is.
Okay. To me in the future, you do want pizza tonight. Okay, so I have disconnected the two heater core hoses from up top. We're getting close. All I gotta do is get this drive shaft off, and then I'm gonna bring it down. I'm gonna bring it down onto the ground, onto some wood blocks, and see if I can start raising the car off of it. I just gotta be careful and go slow. First I gotta get this drive shaft off of here. Of course it's gonna be stubborn. Why wouldn't it be stubborn? Why is it ever not easy? Why is it always not easy? Okay. Hey, that was almost all the way out. Technically the engine is not connected to the car anymore. It also moved forward like a lot. And it's leaking all over the place, of course. Go with this a little bit more. gonna be a lot harder putting this back in.
Yeah.
That's alright. I just hope the car doesn't go off the other end.
Go get it.
We'll definitely remember about that. Alright, go back up. And that's it. That's the end of the video. No, but hey, the engine's out. Great success. On to the next part. Another beautiful, brisk day in May in Michigan. This is day 4 of working on this. I did not have the best day yesterday as far as trying to get stuff done. After work was a nightmare. I was in traffic for an hour and 37 minutes, something like that, and it was pretty much the same today. Anyway, so today we're gonna get right back to it, but I want to show you guys this new tool that Billy bought. So this is our engine hoist, and we have had it for a very long time. This hoist was in the backyard of my childhood home for years. We ended up getting it. We put a cylinder on it. That cylinder that we put on it, we have since replaced, and this is what I want to show you guys, because this is an air over hydraulic. This makes your life 1000% better, because you don't have to sit here with the wrench. Even though it gives you the option to do it, you don't have to do that. It's built in. It was $100 something, I think, 150, I don't know. Billy bought this one day. I want to show you guys how easy this is. You got this, you just hook it up to your air source, and there you go. I mean, that's awesome. I have wanted one of these for so long, and I have despised sitting there cranking this. This is going to make things so much better. So big shout out to my roommate, best friend Billy. Thank you for that. He's not here. He's at work right now. I'm going to start trying to get this hooked up. So the entire goal for today is to get the engine and transmission separated. If I don't get that far, that's fine. But I'm trying to get this done quickly because I have other things. I need to get this vehicle back together and out of my garage. What I want to focus on right now is where I bolt the engine leveler that I've got, that you need if you have an engine hoist. I want to bolt it to 2 spots on the engine. I want to be able to level the engine once the transmission's off of it, but I also have to be able to level it when I lift this up with the transmission on it. And then I can start figuring out precisely what I have to take off and what I don't have to take off. I'm hoping we don't have to take off the whole transfer case and everything, but I'm pretty sure that we do. So let's see, let's get into it. So these engines from the factory come with lift hooks in the right spots. That makes things so good. We actually have saved a whole bunch of them that we use to lift other engines, because there's one on every one of these types of engines. So always look for this if you're going to lift an engine before screwing into some other bolt. There's a lift hook right here, just like that, and there's another one that's identical back here. It's going to hold it at a slight angle, but that will allow us to do everything that we need to. So I got some of these. This is what we usually use. We've got a chain that came with this engine lift. I'm going to make sure when I slide it in that I got enough room between the legs of the engine lift. And then I'm gonna just put that around there. I'm gonna start to bring it up. Okay, there is still coolant coming out of that. And this is my #1 pet peeve, is that it just always comes out. It's a never-ending amount of coolant until this engine is torn apart. So, but she's in the air, so now I'm going to try to level it a little bit more. That right there should be good enough for us to take all the bolts out. of the transmission. And then we're gonna bring it down and crack it like an egg and look at everything, and then replace the main seal, put it back together. Okay, so those are torque converter bolts. So there's 4 of them. You have to know, and you can tell by looking, if you have a torque converter that's got studs or bolts. I went ahead and I removed the starter. You have to take off this metal bracket that goes around it. You've got these 2 connections, which are a 13 and a 10 for the starter. Then this slides off. Then once you've got the nuts that hold this to the studs that hold the starter in, you take those 2 studs out, the starter comes out, and then there's a rubber insert here. Here's the starter. It's got just 2 bolts, and then obviously your 2 connections back here. You've got this rubber grommet, some studs, a plastic thing that covered the connections, and I put the nuts back onto those 2 studs. These are stud style. If you just by looking at this, you always got to tell if there's a bolt that goes through or if there's a stud that goes through the I want to call it a flywheel, but it's a flex plate. That stud right there is part of the flywheel. It's a pressed in part, so you take the nut off and then the stud stays in the torque converter. The key thing about this is that when you're putting the engine back together, you got to remember if it's got studs that you have to line them up. You can't just put it together and then line them up later. There's 4 of those bolts, or nuts rather. I took those out. Now I can go around and look at everything and try to figure out, get an idea of exactly what I have to take off. I did already look and see. It's going to be very difficult for you to see, but looking down in there, right there, you can see the end of a where is it? You can see the end of a bolt right there. That bolt is a bolt that comes this way, and it's directly under this exhaust coming off the turbo. So I went ahead, because I know I have to take this exhaust off of here, I went ahead and I sprayed this V-band clamp. I'm going to be very careful taking this off. I don't want to have to do much with that. So once this exhaust is off of the turbocharger, you guys can see there's the turbo. So I'm going to take this off. It's got the exact same style as my Ford Fusion and Focus ST were. So there's 2 nuts here, 2 nuts there. I'm going to take these off and leave this as part, but I did spray all of them just in case. Oh shit.
How's it?
And there is a lot of oil.
Yeah, I saw the oil dripping out.
Slide this baby out of here. Make sure your finger is not between anything. Okay, let me go up with the engine lift some more. It's off. We just. Alright, that's fine. So, as soon as we separated, even started prying the engine and transmission apart, all that oil came out.
There's some like RTV here. It's been like pried out or something. Or squeezed out right there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's RTV squeezing out in weird places, and that's a success. And that's what we wanted to get accomplished today. It's not so hard, is it?
No, it's just, you just need all of the equipment.
Yeah.
All of it.
Well, you don't need it. But you're gonna want it.
So the engine's still here.
Unfortunately, Billy's right. The engine is still here. I got a rear main seal for it. I got some of the right stuff, 90-minute gasket maker. I'm gonna take the flex pipe off. So these are 19mm bolts. All right, so this part's really loud. So we've got the things on our ears so that we can save ourselves. That's unbelievably loud. Those are fine thread and they have Loctite. So I am going to re-Loctite them just to be safe, but I want to make sure that when I put them in that they are started by hand, because they are very easy to cross thread. There's our flex plate. I mean, I don't know if that's what was leaking, but there's a little section where it squeezed out. Doesn't look too bad. It is one of those fiber ones, though.
Huh, that's
so it's
weird.
like rubber and then it's got fiber. So this is Felpro for the 2-liter EcoBoost. The Felpro number is BS40689. It's the exact same design. It's got that fiber. So you have to have this cup. So this cup is an install tool. If this cup falls out, you have to be very, very careful if you're putting it back in, or you have to get another one. As you push this up on there, it spreads this seal out and it can go on the crank and not fold over. The problem you have is when this seal right here, it's actually got two edges, one that folds out on the front and one that folds out on the rear. So it's like that. If this one, when you're pushing it on there, folds under, then it'll leak like crazy. How do I know? Because I had a Mazda CX-7 that I had to take the engine out of twice. The first time was because of an issue with the cylinder head. Had to get another cylinder head on it. The second time was because this folded over and it was leaking oil like crazy. My trick, I'll show you guys in a little bit, is to get a feeler gauge and run it underneath of this after it's installed. So first, let's take that off of there. Okay, these are all, there's 6 8mm sockets. That one,
Wait.
that is loose. Oh my god, they're all loose. Okay, no, what? So somebody's been in here. They're not all loose, but these 2 bottom ones are. I gotta get this on video, because I haven't touched those. We didn't touch those.
No, yeah, we haven't touched them.
Which means somebody's been in here. Those 2 bottom bolts are not tight. I'm surprised this thing
Retained any oil.
retained oil as long as it did. I thought this was a car that hasn't been apart. Then yesterday when we were taking this apart, I noticed this right here. You'll see, anytime you see any sort of silicone that's squeezed out like super far, especially if it's all flopping over like this stuff, look how far that's sticking out.
So we've spent how many days working on this?
This is
4,
like day 5 or
3?
6.
Yeah.
I think technically this is day 5.
Well, because the last guy didn't tighten 2 bolts.
This is kind of relieving. I've been looking at this rear main seal since yesterday and thinking, doesn't really look that bad, but if those bolts were loose or they were not quite tight enough, and after a while they finally loosened up, yeah, that makes sense. We're gonna look at how good the seal is once we take it off of there. So there's a little groove that's built into the aluminum that's actually full of silicone. Where this bead continues up over the corner and up around,
Yeah.
there's supposed to be silicone right there, but it's actually wet right there, that tiny little corner.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing over here. It's wet there and right here. And then you're supposed to carry that silicone bead up just a little bit. Not only did they not put enough, they might have resealed or reused this, because it's all of this rubber looks pretty dry rotted or cracked. Or it's very hard.
And the oil's also like caked on there, like it's been heated a lot.
Yeah. I mean, who knows how long ago they did this, but they did not seal it properly. It could have also been leaking out from around the bolt hole heads, because see, there's seal here where the bolts tighten down. There's a rubber seal built into this. The bolts tighten down on that. It's supposed to seal here. It could have just been seeping out through that, around that bolt head, because both of these right here, it's wet. Either way, guarantee that was our issue. It's probably sealing fine around the crank. It's just this this corner and those 2 bolt heads. So we're gonna fix it, and then I'm gonna get out of my garage because I got other stuff to do. Billy's got a Mustang to build. So do I.
And a Mazda.
And
And a Miata.
2 Mazdas.
Is that a rubber seal or silicone
This
in there?
is leftover silicone. I'm trying to carefully. I don't want to pull it out of the cracks or anything where the bottom is sealed. Okay.
The goop.
Yeah. This is a very thin little sealing surface. I'm gonna do a little bit extra and just put a dab here, and then I will wipe it flat so that it's not squishing out. the service manual says 5 millimeters here, 5 millimeters here, and 3 millimeters all the way across right here. This is what I use typically, 90-minute gasket maker. They make a fancy 1-minute version. I would try not to get that unless you are on the side of the road trying to get home. But this 90-minute gives you enough working time to get it done. So we're going to make sure that this isn't able to happen again just by putting a little bit blue Loctite on the bolts. Damn it, I didn't ask for that much. I have 2 bolts ready. I'm going to start these bolts before I pull the tool out. And that's it. That's installed. Now I just got to put the rest of the bolts in. Torque them to spec. Okay, so torque spec on these 6 small bolts, 8 millimeter head, whatever. Torque spec is 89 inch-pounds. So we've got this set to 89 inch-pounds. If you don't know what that is, just divide it by 12 and that's foot-pounds. Or just make them tight, just not too tight. And definitely not too loose, because that's what happened on us. And I'm going to do like I usually do, just do a crisscross pattern. So 1, and there you go. Rear main seal is reinstalled. All we got to do is the opposite of all this. A trick that I learned to make sure that we did install this and it did not fold the seal over. Take a feeler gauge set. I've got these that are at an angle. You can also do it with a straight set. Take a very thin, and I want to carefully, I'm going to get it in there carefully and run it all the way around. That way I know the inside seal that's supposed to be folded away from me is in fact. So what I don't want to do is damage or push in this fabric outer seal. So I'm going to take this edge, which is rounded, and I'm going to try to very carefully pull it downward until it pops in like that. And you push it in a little bit, and then you'll feel it go under the seal that we're trying to check, which is on the other side, inside this. So now that it's in there, I want to carefully just go all the way around without letting it cut or damage that fabric. And I'm going to pull it out. So that right there is a perfectly installed rear main seal. Alright, so moment of truth, it's going back together. We went ahead and we torqued the flex plate bolts with some fresh Loctite on them. So as we put it together, we got to make sure we line up the torque converter. There are dowels as well, so it should line up once we get the torque converter together. So
yeah, find a way to keep track of your bolts. This is what we do. Get a piece of cardboard, draw an engine, and stick them in there.
Billy likes to make maps.
Forward.
Yeah, towards. Okay, hold on, a little bit more.
Oh, there, I got one.
You got one torque converter?
Yep. I'm still holding. Are they still in there?
As far as I can tell, yeah. It's just,
Okay, right there, Billy.
There. Hold on.
Okay.
All right.
Yes,
All right,
they're still in there. We're good.
I'm in. We're good. We're together. Sweet. Okay, now we can put them all in and tighten them all. Ready to go!
Things are so nice when you have the height and room for them.
I was surprised I was able to lift it under the car. Alright, so transmission's back on there. I started hooking up some of the coolant lines. I got the starter back in after we put the torque converter nuts on. Just a little bit. Alright, you good?
Pin is in there. Drop it.
Coming down. Car's not gonna hit it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Motor.
I'm gonna come down a little bit further.
Yep. Okay, give me a second. Move some stuff.
So now I'm going to try to sneak this in here over top of the fender.
I think it'll pull right into place though.
Well, go ahead and hook it up to that lift.
Okay. Okay, hold up. Yep, go ahead.
Alright, now you can let it back.
It's an interesting mount.
Is it starting?
Yep.
Okay. Once you run that up, we're like done.
That wasn't that terrible, really.
No.
The whole front of the car started moving down.
Yeah. So was that tight? Like tight?
I think so.
Well, engine's in the car. So a few tips. It helps a lot to have extra hands, especially when you are going to put this back in. It also helps to get one of the motor mounts hooked up, so that way when you go to jack something up, it's just going to fall right in line. We're going to proceed on. Billy has the exhaust hooked up. He has the drive shaft hooked up. We got the CV axles in. We put the nut for the carrier bearing on the intermediate shaft. So the CVs are in and good. We need to put the subframe in it, and then we need to hook up all the suspension and steering stuff. And then what we will do after that, we will start putting the battery tray and routing all of the wires back and hooking up all of the vacuum lines, put the intake on, get all of this situated up here, and we will pressure test the coolant.
Plunk.
Plunk.
Getting closer.
Almost there. We just gotta, I want to put this in and then we can start putting the subframe in and hooking up the steering and all the fun stuff. Okay, let's put that weird rear main seal in here.
You mean subframe?
I'm not saying the right things. Like, my brain does not work anymore. The subframe. That's the thing.
You mean the torque converter?
I definitely called the transfer case a torque converter like 9 times. Alright, I'm just gonna keep jacking. Alright. And now, subframe's back in the car. That thing is awesome, Billy. So the subframe is back in it. We got those little connecting bars in there. We got the rear subframe in with the bracket that goes right behind it with those little wings that go up here across the two. Everything's in its right spot. Gave it the old rebuild in a can. So now what I need to do is I need to hook up this rear main, or this, god dang, this rear motor mount and hook up the steering, and then I can bring it down, finish out what we've got right here on the suspension, and we should be good to bring it down and go connect that steering shaft inside.
Okay. Yep. Hopefully don't do that again. Raised, lowered.
I will.
Yeah.
Because we have to check the trans fluid.
No.
Yeah, and you gotta be in the car.
No.
Yeah.
No. So we're checking the transmission fluid.
There's a little, it's either a plug or it's an Allen or something right here, right in front of your driver's side CV axle. You're supposed to get it up to temperature, and then once it's full, it's supposed to come out of there. So we don't have anything coming out yet, but we just started this, so I don't know, I kind of want to stick a zip tie in there to get an idea. Oh, it's right there. Yeah. Alright. I'm gonna call that good. We only put a little over half a quart into it, so that's probably about what it lost anyway.
But we're not in the garage anymore.
Nope. You're not even in the video. Is this me? Oh. So, we're driving it. And I'll go ahead and tell you right now, it's not perfect. The reason it's not perfect is because we're having an issue with the struts. It was there before we started, so that issue we're going to resolve on another day. So there is a very annoying clunk and a very annoying screeching sound. We went ahead, put the car through its paces, and everything works. The AC is wonderful right now. It's very cold. And after driving this, I brought it back. It's not dripping a single drop of oil. So we have 100% solved the rear main seal issue. So other than needing struts, this thing is great. We're going to take it for a little cruise. And the best part, there's not a single check engine light. There's no codes for anything, no lights. I think we've got this thing solved. I really appreciate you guys watching. Look forward to some more videos soon. We're working on some things. It's just taking some time, and we'll see you guys next time.